Hi, I'm Liz Granberg-Jerome from Gypsy Dreamer Quilts, and my passion is making Hexified Panel Quilts. And today I'm going to be showing you how to sew together the Hexies as halves, and I'm working with this little panel with the hummingbird on it. It's a very pretty panel, and it's going to make a really fun design on it. So, first thing I'm going to do is I've got this handy dandy little ruler that is a sewing machine 1/4 inch seam guide that's drilled at 1/4 inch, and I'm going to slide it under my foot and drop the needle in the hole, and I'm going to hug it up next to the needle so that it's kind of a scant quarter rather than having it in the middle of the hole. And then I'm going to take a piece about 1/4 inch wide and a couple inches long of Dr. Scholl's Mole Foam padding. It's the extra thick, soft padding, so it's going to give me a dimensional seam guide to use. So I'm going to lay that right up here next to the ruler and get it set down and stuck, and then remove my ruler, and now all of my seams will run up against that little guide and I'll have nice, even seams. So I've laid out 4 sets of 6 triangles here that will make Hexies, and we're going to go ahead and turn a couple of them and see what we want to do. The rosebud I'm going to leave as is. The hummingbirds, I'm not sure. So I turn 2 at a time, and you want to turn them all the same direction so that you get the look of each different direction that they might go, because there's 3 options for each set of 6. Ooh, that's kind of fun. 1, 2, or 3, honey. You can have the blue center. Sometimes I do this several times. Sometimes I go with the original.
The one before.
Like this one. And yes, the man behind the camera is also a quilter and my partner in crime. And Leslie helps me pick which layout sometimes. And now this one, because it's 2 blocks in the panel, there's a frame between them, and I've cut that up too, and so I'm going to show how, even though it's kind of an odd little design, you can get pinwheels out of it. And this one uses the blue sky from the block, and if we turn it once more, we get a pinwheel going the opposite direction, or star, from the blue that's from the center of the block itself. And I think I'm going to leave it there with the light star. And then this one here from the daffodil, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. The purple in the center is going to pretty much disappear, because you have to remember there's going to be 1/4 inch seams taken from everything. So if you base it on what's in the very center and you do 1/4 inch seams, they're going to go away. So I probably won't pick the purple in the middle. I kind of like that one, or the first one, like this one. We're going with this one. This little hexie that I sewed earlier, you can see where on the triangle it had part of a hummer here in the corner, but by the time I sewed it, and when you take another 1/4 inch off, it's going away. So that's why I went and put the purple flowers in the center instead. Okay, so once we're ready to start sewing, I separate these in pairs, and I'm going to flip 2 sets right sides together with that center point up, and that's where I'm going to sew from. And then the 3rd set I'm going to take and put the center point up and lay it next to them, and those are going to go on in the next step. So the first step here is to start stitching, and I've got my points matched up at both the front end going in and the back end coming out. I want them to be even. And now I'm going to go ahead and continue sewing and chain the 2nd pair in and just continue there. And now I'm going to trim close to the pair that are still in the machine, leaving a tail at the outside edge, and the front edge will not have a tail, and that's the center point. So I'm going to take and I'm going to open that seam up, and I've got a little clover ruler here so I can do a little quick finger press. I know this is the end on the outside and this is my center because the tail is out here, and that little bit of purple matches the little bit of purple here, so I'm going to line this up. Yep, they match. I'm going to put this on, match the points, and you always want your points to match. If they're too far down and they're not lined up, when you get that next seam sewn and you press it open, you're going to have a jog. It's not going to be an even across the top, and you don't want to create any jogs. You want them all to be nice and even when you press them open. So make sure your points are matched. And I do cut all of my triangles with a ruler with a point so that I have that point as a dog ear to use in several stages of assembling these. And now again, I'm going to cut right close to the one still under the needle, leaving a tail, because I know I started and sewed from the center, so I want the center point without a tail. The outside edge is going to have the little tail. I'll press that open, and again I'm going to line this up, the purple and the purple, and I'm going to line up my points. And your little dog ear that's sticking out here, I just lay it next to the mold foam and let it ride alongside. And now I'm going to give this just a hair of a tug so that the points out here match up. And that pair is now ready to go. And now I'm going to sew one more pair just to show how we continue on. Two of them, right sides together, point up. The extra two, center point up. And I'm going to line up my points and sew the first one. And now I can cut close to this one that's under the needle, leaving a tail, and that pair is done. So those are two halves. And now the second pair on this one goes under the needle and gets sewn. And I'm going to cut close to the one there that's under the needle, and I'm going to press this guy open. This is my center, there's my little tail, and I'm going to take one of these two, make sure that that center matches, match up the points. Clip close. Again, we're going to press, I always press the seams open on these. It distributes all of that thickness where you're adding all those seams together. You're going to have 6 pieces coming together at the centers, and having the seams pressed open on all of the ones that we've made, and we're somewhere around 40 at this point, if not more. We just find that adding that seam pressed open. Now in this one I'm going to give just a hair of a tug to the bottom layer to make sure those outside points are connected. And if I were going to keep going, I would just pull the next set, separate it in two, right sides together with that center point. Always start from the, I always sew from the center out, and then the other two, the center point up, and then continue sewing, and you do a pair at a time, and you just continuously run them through. And once they're through, you would press the seams open, overlap them about a 1/2 inch, put a pin in the middle, and it's ready for the design wall. And that's how we do it.